Hey everybody, welcome into episode 46 of my YouTube journey. Today we're going to talk about a big move I made. You've already seen the thumbnail. You already know I gave up some big cards. You already know what they are. So you're going to be tempted just to fast forward to the end and see what the card is that I got. And if you want to do that, that's cool. But I want to do this video as kind of an example of how, as a collector, sometimes our feelings towards a certain card can change. Sometimes we start out in certain lanes in our collection and we change lanes. And that's the way it's been with me. I've got several lanes now that I live in, but I try to stay focused. And there are certain cards in the collecting world that to me are just extremely special. And when one comes at you, sometimes you got to just jump in there and take the big old step and go get it. The problem with that is if it's an expensive card, and this one is very expensive, in doing so, do you got that kind of money in your bank? I didn't. But what I did have was some nice cards that I knew I could liquidate pretty quickly. And all three of those cards have different stories. So I'm going to start off by telling the story of the first one. And that's the Jackie Robinson, the 1955 signed Jackie Robinson I have. That was the first signed Jackie Robinson that I was able to pick up. If you watch my stuff, you know how passionate I am about signed cards, and you also know how passionate I am about Jackie Robinson. So to score one of his signed cards was a huge deal for me, and it still is a huge deal for me. I got that one. Then I was able to pick up a 1954 signed Jackie Robinson. Has best wishes on it above it, and it's a stronger signature than I had on that 55 that you see in the thumbnail. And so I was willing to step out there and try to get some more. So I put an ad on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram saying, I want to buy signed Jackie Robinsons. If you have any, reach out to me. I had a person reach out to me on Facebook, and he had another 55 signed Jackie. This one had the best wishes inscription. It was also stronger looking on the card. It wasn't as faded. So I was willing to buy that card, and now I had two. So I was faced with a dilemma. Do I keep both of them, or do I offload one of them to get funds for a big purchase? And so I did, because what I'm not, I'm an investor. If you're a collector, you're an investor, okay? You can deny it all you want, but you are, because the cards hold value. That card had a value to it. And so I was willing to give up the lesser of the two, even though it's still an amazing card. I was willing to give it up. So that was that one. And I'll show you a video right now of what that card looked like, and also the clip of when I showed it on my YouTube video. People didn't get the 59s signed much, but they didn't. And then the last one of those I'm going to show is my pride and joy, and it's the 1955 Topps Jackie Robinson signed card. And so this one checks so many boxes for me. Iconic player. I didn't see him play. I didn't get it in person, but iconic player. Great story. But he's Jackie Robinson, the dude that Martin Luther King Jr. said, without what he did, I couldn't have done what I did. He did so much for his race, so much for all races, for America in general, in society. And he held this card in his hand, and he put his signature on it. So that means a ton. This one has been graded. All right, as you can see, it's an awesome card. I had great feelings for it, and I still do, but I have one. So I had doubles. It was expendable. So that was a natural one to throw into the kitty. I was able to liquidate that one. I had a buyer for it in 24 hours. What I didn't do, I didn't mark it up a ton of money over what I paid for it and try to, make a huge profit. I just priced it to sell, and that's what happened. That's what I did on all three of these cards. The second card, and by the way, I want to make sure you understand something. I'm not trying to explain to you why I did it and get you on my side. Because I really don't care. I mean, I would like to hear your feelings. Leave a comment and tell me if you would have done this deal or you think I'm crazy. That's cool. But even if you think I'm crazy, it doesn't really matter. It's what I think, and I'm fired up about the deal. So that's really all that matters to me. So don't think this video is one trying to convince you of what I did. I'm just explaining it, just telling a story. So the second one was the 1915 Cracker Jack Honus Wagner. That one I'd had, I don't even know, 4 months or so. That one, I bought it because I wanted it. It's an awesome card. Honus Wagner stuff is just going up, up, up. And again, that's the investor part of it. But you kind of feel like sometimes you got to grab a card when you can, because if you wait, if it's going up like that, you'll never get it because it'll just get too expensive. This one was on eBay and it was priced way below comps. I got it, was fired up about it. I put it on Facebook, got a guy, if you were at the Strongsville Trade Night, the young man that was there from Atlanta that I bought the Christy Mathewson and the Walter Johnson from, I actually sold it to him. And he's already got it listed for about $4,000 more than I sold it for. So good luck to him. That's his deal. He's a dealer. But I sold it for something. I made a little bit of profit off of it, but I priced it to sell. And I'll show you that card right now. And here it is. It's an awesome card. For those. And now into the auctions. So I don't think I've shown this one yet, but I picked this one up a couple of months ago in an auction. I believe it was right after my last pickup video. So I've been wanting to add one of these. And actually, this was not an auction. This was on eBay, of all things. Greg Miller, one morning, sent me this link and said, check this out. It was in on eBay, and it was in the PSA Vault, that new thing they're doing. And so I was able to buy it and on a buy it now deal. And for a couple $1,000s under comps. I was blown away. And be getting this in a 2. It's a beautiful card, being a 15. And the great thing about the PSA Vault, when you buy from eBay, it doesn't have to go through authentication and be sent to California and back. So I got it pretty quickly. So I'm blessed to own that now. Picked this one up on eBay. All right, beautiful card. The red on that Cracker Jack just shines. It's a great condition card. I mean, I know it's a 2. It's got the perfect amount of Cracker Jack stains for my liking, and you know it's not a high pop card. The third one, and this one was a tough one, and you'll see the clip in just a minute, and you'll see. It'll make me look like I'm the biggest, either one, I'm a liar or I'm a hypocrite. One of the two, I don't care. That card at the time when I picked it up was the dream card. And honestly, it's still, I think, one of the most iconic cards in the hobby, and I want it in my collection. I want another one. That one was the means to an end. Mantles are like the most liquid currency in the hobby. A while back, I sold all my 1960s and a couple of my high 50s cards in order to purchase the 54 Jackie signed card. And I was able to offload those again within 36 hours to Gordy Bonker. And then he sold them. I saw him in Strongsville, and he told me he made a good profit off of them. So, you know, I sell stuff at comps. I don't try to kill people with prices. I'm not a flipper. But when you need money, if you have nice cards, that's one of the perks. You can sell them and they keep their value. So I was able to do that. Now, when I got a phone call from this fella that I'll talk about here in just a minute with the crazy offer to buy this card, I couldn't believe it. I said, dude, are you nuts? I know you. This is your thumbnail. This is your dream card. What in the heck are you thinking? He said, I got another one. So I'm willing to part with this one. And I couldn't believe it. He was offering it to me first because he respects me as far as, you know, he knew that I like that genre of card. And I'll explain to you which one it is in just a minute. So I had to make a decision. I could go the route where I sold 20 cards, but that would have took a while. And I didn't know what 20 I was going to sell. And so It was an easy way to raise a lot of money really quickly, was just to sell the 52 Mantle. And so I reached out to my buddy Ash, and he was willing to buy it. And that one I've had long enough. There was enough equity in the card. I did make a pretty good profit off of it because I got it so daggum cheap on eBay. If you saw my episode, you know the story. So that one, I took a picture as I was putting it in the box to ship it off to Ash. And I mean, honestly, man, I felt it. I was honestly questioning myself, and I was thinking, am I an idiot? I had already reached out, like I said, to a couple of guys I trust, and they assured me I wasn't. And I just, man, it wasn't just the 52 Mantle and the fact that it's one of the most iconic cards. It was the fact of how I picked it up. And man, when I got that thing, it sat on my bedside table for over a week watching me sleep. Like, that thing went with me to work. So it wasn't just a card. And sure, I can get another one, and I plan on getting another one, but it won't be that one. So that one hurt a little bit. I took this picture right here. I'm going to scoot over a little bit so I can squeeze it in. I took this picture right here as I was putting it in the box. Took a last selfie with it, and you can see the consternation on my face. So I'm going to show the card. I'm going to show the clip that makes me look like a big hypocrite right here. So hang in there. It will never get old. That it will stay with me until when I stop collecting and I want to liquidate my cards. That's going to be a toss-up on whether that one gets liquidated or goes to one of my children. I'm not sure. But it's one of my top cards, obviously, for monetary reasons. Okay, without further ado, here is my card. And it's a beauty. It's a 3. And it no creases. It is obviously off center a little bit. But the color's great. And I couldn't be happier with it. I mean, all right, so again, I'm the biggest freaking hypocrite. I'm on there talking about how I don't know whether that's going to go to my kids and my grandkids one day, and if I'll liquidate it when I'm 75 years old just to get money for their inheritance. And here I got rid of it. I'm 55. So it is what it is. Like I said, my plan is to get another one. And so what do all 3 of these cards have in common? Well, 2 of them at least. The Wagner and the Mantle, I can find again. There's a Mantle in almost every auction. I can go on eBay right now and buy them. So they're available. The Jackie isn't that available. I think that's a pop of about 16 or 18. I can't remember. But I have one. So not worried about that one, okay? I'm still trying to grab signed Jackies. I love the 56 that's in the golden 100 right now, but it's gotten too high. So I'll find another one someday. But so that's neither here nor there. So this card, this guy, his name's Jonah, and he reaches out to me again, tell the story. And I knew the card he loved. And this card has only sold 4 times since 2019 publicly. It wasn't even discovered until 2003. And so it's one that's kind of new on the card scene. But this guy, he was put into the Major League Hall of Fame in 1972. He's considered one of the best players of all time. He's considered to be the best catcher of all time. You're probably putting things together. And what I was able to grab is this 1950-51 Toleteros Josh Gibson card and a 1.5. And again, these cards right here in the hobby are what I would call, and what a couple of my friends would call, we've talked about it, and we'll show it again here in just a second. I'm going to compare it to some other cards. So hang in there. We're going to show it on my board. But that card right there is one that don't come down the pike. So again, 4 public sales since 2019. The T206 Honus Wagner card, which is what it is. I mean, that's freaking iconic. There's been 14 sales, so 14 to 4. And they were talking about that Honus Wagner hadn't been up for sale for 2 years. And everybody was making a big deal about this. 4 sales in 5 years for the Gibson. The pop count on that is less than 30. We're not really sure exactly how many. We think around 28 of those Gibsons in existence. The Honus Wagner, there's a little less than 60. Not really sure exactly how many of those. It's in the 50s. So double the pop count. Now, is there a comparison? No, I'm not trying to say the Josh Gibson's as good as the Honus Wagner. I'm comparing the fact that this card is a ghost. And when you have the opportunity to buy one, and I had to figure it out. So again, I knew which 3 cards I could get to $100,000 the fastest by selling, and that's what I did. And I don't regret it. That card one day, I have a feeling, is going to go up, up, up. There has not been a public sale of that card since March of 2024. MLB accepted Josh Gibson's statistics as official MLB statistics in May of that year. So there hasn't been a public sale since then. So again, we don't think there's going to be hardly any more kind of popping up. Puerto Rico's been drilled by hurricanes over the years, and it's amazing that these survived the way they did with all the flooding and the rain and everything else. But the picture on that card is from 1939 when he was playing for the Center Say Crabbers in the Puerto Rican League. He was their first coach when he got there, and he became a legend there in Puerto Rico. So what makes this card so special? Well, first off, he only has one playing days card. One. And it's a pop one. It's a postcard. And so it really wasn't issued as far as being a set, really. But there's one, and it's got 2 signatures on it. It's a 1931 postcard. I got it written down right here. It's a 1931 Harrison Studios postcard. It's actually signed twice. It's signed on the bottom, and I'm going to put a picture right here. And he also signed the back because he sent it as a postcard, and he signed the back. So it was signed twice. It sold in 2006 for $81,000. There is no telling what that card's worth today. Now, in that same Harrison postcard set, there's also a team card, and I think that's a pop one too. If not, so anyways, one card his whole career. There's no Negro League cards, so he has one. Babe Ruth, he has 250 playing days cards, thereabouts 250. Mickey Mantle has around 100 playing days cards. And so if you look at those 2 guys that are stalwarts of the hobby, their value is kind of spread out amongst all these cards. This Toleteros, he's already passed away. So this isn't technically a playing days card, but it's the closest to it. He died in 1947 in January. He didn't even get to see Jackie Robinson break the color barrier. He was 35 years old, had a brain tumor, had a stroke, and died. I'm in the middle right now of reading this book. It's a really awesome book. But I'm really diving into him. So I'll have a Josh Gibson episode at some point. But anyways, I'm not going to get really into his life. But he died early. That card was issued basically by the Puerto Ricans as a monument to that guy. Kind of like Leaf did the card for Babe Ruth when he passed away in 1949. So this card right here isn't technically a playing days card, but it's as close as you're going to get for him. So all of his value, he's a Major League Hall of Famer, all of his value is wrapped up really in one card, in one issue, because the postcard with a pop one, whatever. But these cards go into collections and don't really come out, as you could tell by how many sales there's been. So again, another reason why I had to jump on it when I did. So we're going to look at the card. We're going to look at some other cards beside it, and we'll get right down to it, and I'll show you the card in detail. All right, I'm back, and here's the card. Again, it's a 1950-51 Toleteros. These cards were made to go in albums, and they came in cigarettes, and so they were issued kind of like T206s. This card is, one thing about it you'll see is he's standing in front of a fence, and I'll superimpose the original image for you in a minute, but this picture right here was taken in the stadium there, in Santurce, which is a neighborhood of San Juan, Puerto Rico. So it's right there on the water. It's a beautiful area right there. It's the most densely populated neighborhood of Puerto Rico. But the old stadium is still there. You can go see it. I think it's pretty dilapidated. They don't play ball there anymore. But this at one point was in one of those albums, and you can see on the back, let me zoom in here, there's a little touch of paper loss. There it is, right there where the glue got it. The great thing is, though, the back is white, so it really doesn't show up when you're just looking at it with your naked eye. The camera actually shows it better. I'm not sure why it's not focusing. So there it is. He's standing in front of a chain link fence. This is like where the fence was melted together. You can see his belts coming off. Now on this particular copy, the guy I bought it from said he had looked at it under a microscope and it's missing some of the red pigment in his arms. That's why they're a little more in the green color. But again, this is still a great shape. No creases, a little bit of paper loss accounts for the 1.5. I plan on crossing this over to PSA for several reasons. And one is I wanted a new holder. I think it would look better. It's an expensive card. Also, with SGC, who knows if they're around 5 years from now. I want it to be in a PSA holder. If something were to happen to me and my family has to sell this, I think it'll get more money. So that's the reasoning behind it. Now, there's a couple of players that when his stats came into Major League Baseball that it affected. And one of those guys, and I'll put this down right here, was Ty Cobb. So when he came in, Ty Cobb had been, for the longest time, having the Major League career record for batting average. But when they accepted Josh Gibson's batting average, his lifetime batting average is 372. Cobb's was 367. So now Josh Gibson is accepted as the Major League leader in batting average. So some people had a big problem with that. I will say this, though. If you downgrade what the Negro League teams, and I know they didn't play as many games and all that other stuff, but the average that his lifetime batting average is built upon is only Negro League games. They didn't count the games against club teams and things like that, but they did a lot of research to come up with that number to make sure it was correct. So he absolutely was a beast. Roy Campanella said he was the best player he ever saw play in his life. Dizzy Dean, he tore Dizzy Dean up in games that they would play against the Major League players. Dizzy Dean said that if Josh Gibson played for the Cardinals, that they could wrap the season up at July 4th and fish the rest of the season. He was that good. Monty Irvin said, I played with Willie Mays and against Hank Aaron, and they were outstanding players, but neither one was better than Josh Gibson. So when you had guys that it was his contemporary who said things like that about him or played against him, Walter Johnson said he was better than Bill Dickey. So Walter Johnson, he knew a little bit about baseball too. So there's all kinds of quotes out there like that at guys that know what they're talking about, saw him play. So if you want to discount what he did, that's fine. But just realize the Negro League players were really good too. So that's why once Campanella came in, he won, 3 or 4 MVPs. So you had Jackie Robinson win Rookie of the Year, his rookie year. So, and then the next guy it affected was this guy. And I chose this card because, they're both in those just finished swinging poses. But Babe Ruth. So he passed Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth's slugging percentage lifetime was .690. And Josh Gibson's is .718. Also, he passed Ruth. Ruth's OPS, the on-base percentage plus slugging percentage. The OPS, Ruth's was 1.164. Gibson's is 1.177. So Gibson passed him in that. So that's what happened there. Also, Gibson now is credited with the highest batting average in one season with a .466 batting average he put up in the Negro Leagues in 1943. Next guy, Ted Williams. Why am I showing Ted Williams? Because in his induction speech, I think it was 1966, he stumped, and there was a lot of people who were up in arms at the time about it, but he brought up the fact that there were some great Negro League players that needed to be in the Hall of Fame, that they needed to open their door to them, and he mentioned two guys. He mentioned Josh Gibson, this guy, and Leroy Satchel Paige. And so those were the two guys that he mentioned. And sure enough, 5 years later, in 1971, Leroy Satchel Paige became the first Negro League player to be in the Major League Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And in 1972, this guy was the second guy. So what do they have in common? Well, they played together. They played together on the Pittsburgh Crawfords and were a big drawing card for that team. Now, Gibson kind of played in the shadow of Page because he was such a showman that he demanded the spotlight. In fact, he had his own personal catcher at times, and Gibson would move to left field. And some people say it's just because he didn't want Josh Gibson still in his limelight, so he would put him in the outfield. So very possible. When Satchel Paige played in the Negro Leagues, he would leave during the week and go play off in the sticks, sometimes 2-3 games during the week, making extra money, and would just leave his team. They wouldn't have him for the midweek games, and a lot of his teammates didn't like him because of that. They would get tired of it. And the first year or so, he would take Josh Gibson with him. And so Josh Gibson got to make some extra money too. He got tired of doing the traveling and decided just to concentrate on his regular games. But that's Satchel Paige. And then the last one I want to show, because it's a similar card and they're obviously linked together, is Jackie Robinson. So again, he's got that, just like the Babe Ruth card, the Indian swing pose. Of course, Jackie went to Hall of Fame before Gibson based off of his MLB career and his significance to the sport. Some people say that Josh Gibson died of a broken heart because he wasn't the first in Major League Baseball. Well, you know, that's a cool story, but he actually died of a brain tumor, and he decided not to get it operated on. That's why he died. But I'm sure it broke his heart. He would have liked to have played in the Major League, just see what he could do. His lifetime average, though, I think in barnstorming games against Major League pitching was like 375. So he was obviously a great hitter. Hit for high average, hit for power, great player. So that's the last player I'll show that kind of I wanted to show alongside Gibson. So I'll have a Josh Gibson episode. Stay tuned. I'll be right back with some parting words. All right, thanks for watching that. As you can tell, I don't have my shelves up. We're putting our house on the market, and our real estate agent told us we need to kind of get some of the stuff out of here so the bonus room looks bigger and we can sell the house. So anyways, got the stuff down, got my cards safely in a safe, so when people come through here, I don't have to worry about somebody lifting my cards. I'm debating on whether or not to put the Josh Gibson card in a safe deposit box in the bank. I'm probably going to do that just to make sure it's good to go. So anyways, hope y'all enjoyed that. Let me know your thoughts. Am I crazy? Am I a hypocrite? Do you love the card? You hate the card? Think I'm crazy? Whatever. But thanks for watching, and thanks for following me on my collecting journey.